Well, it was one of the largest naval disasters in history, and many of those who survived are no longer with us. But those that were on board the USS Franklin and lived to tell about it were in Milwaukee for a special reunion today. Deandra Corinthos has the story.
March 19th, 1945. John Hensel is catapulted deep into Japanese enemy waters.
Remember, it was dark, real dark.
Hensel survived an attack on the USS Franklin by a Japanese plane.
It had several layers of clothes on.
2 bombs hit the aircraft carrier.
The air that built up in there gave me a lot of buoyancy.
The Franklin is often called the ship that wouldn't die, but many of the crew did. Of 3,448 men, 724 dead, another 265 wounded.
Every day, I got my burnt on my hands, and it's a constant reminder.
He's one of 8 survivors reuniting now in front of this plane, one of the last remaining examples of the Curtis Helldivers carried by the USS Franklin. And it holds a special meaning for Hensel.
He was a gunner on one of these planes.
He is the man who saved him.
Of course, he was blowing off of it too, but I was burnt, and he was helped me get onto the raft.
More than 70 years later, Hensel takes it all in with his daughter by his side.
By far my favorite vet.
He knows he had a lot to live for.
6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls. I got 15 grandchildren, and I got 6 great-grandchildren.
This reunion, a time to share stories.
I like to say, get it off of my mind.
And remember selfless heroes. In Milwaukee, Deandra Corinthos, Fox 6 News.
Truly is part of the greatest generation. The USS Franklin crew also held a memorial at the Milwaukee County War Memorial Center.
8 World War II veterans from all over the country gathered in Milwaukee today for their annual reunion.
As 12 News' Tim Elliott explains, the men are part of an exclusive club within the military.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Good.
Every summer, 89-year-old Bill Shower catches up with his old Navy buddies.
And of course, we're losing them. That's the trouble. Every year, a few of them be missing, but it was quite the experience.
The men love to tell stories about their time aboard the historic USS Franklin during World War II.
So fast, there's no time to sound general quarters. A Japanese plane roars in under the radar screen.
Known for her toughness and resilience, the Franklin earned the nickname the ship that wouldn't die.
Well, it's a big ship, and we were bombing these airstrips, knocking out these planes, because Okinawa was being invaded, see?
Today, 8 surviving members of the Franklin crew and their families gathered in Milwaukee for some photos and a special treat. Each year, this reunion is held in a different city in the United States, and this year it just so happens that it's in Milwaukee. And by a stroke of good luck, this World War II era plane is in town.
Now, this plane was the same type of plane we had aboard the carrier, the Franklin, see?
This is really cool. Yeah, this is something we hadn't seen before.
Kim Seidel says her dad looks forward to this reunion every year. She loves seeing them get together. For her, it's an important reminder of what the greatest generation achieved and sacrificed.
Well, it makes you very proud, and it also, is touching. It's something to remember. It's something to be very proud of as a nation.
In Milwaukee, Tim Elliott, WISN 12 News.
The group later gathered for a formal ceremony at the Milwaukee County War Memorial along Lake Michigan. They'll spend the weekend in Milwaukee and will attend events like Festa Italiana.
Welcome to Wisconsin tonight, and as our World War II veterans age, it is important we keep their stories alive.
Tonight, a Wisconsin tribute to the remaining men who survived one of the most important battles of World War II. The USS Franklin is known as the ship that wouldn't die, and in Milwaukee, a reunion of 8 of the World War II heroes who served on that battleship. They gathered in Milwaukee, flanked by friends and family, a special tribute to the brave warriors.
Every year we try to do something a little bit fun for the vets, a little bit unique, try to get them to see something that they might not otherwise see.
The veterans were also joined once again with the Curtis Helldiver. It's a commemorative plane of the last true dive bomber produced for the U.S. Navy. Those here have deep respect for the young heroes who risked their lives.
It's hard for us to imagine what those young men did during the war. 19 to 21 years old as pilots, going out to war in the middle of a big Pacific Ocean, seeing some of their friends not coming back. So just because we fly these things to commemorate them doesn't necessarily mean it's all of them have fond memories.
The USS Franklin was bombed by the Japanese March of 1945. Over 800 crew members died. She was the most heavily damaged U.S. carrier to survive the war.
When we got hit, I was on the third deck, down below, and when we got the bombs hit, they exploded on the hangar.
This ship was off the coast of Japan, kamikazed. Hundreds of men lost their life on the one day. The ship was listing, but the survivors were able to keep the ship afloat.
Despite the devastation, the surviving sailors managed to save the crippled ship. They brought it back to America. It's a story of bravery and pride.
And it came back through to New York under its own power as a statement that the USA would not be defeated in any way.
So on this day, a trip back in time to honor the valor and courage of men who served on the USS Franklin. They gave a lot and did not give up, and used their freedom to fight for ours.
I'm glad that we were able to finally get this airplane in front of the true heroes of World War II, the guys that served.
Yes, and we owe them all a lot. Now, every year, different families host reunion events all over the country. This year, the family of Darren Ham, who you saw in that piece, is from West Bend. They hosted this reunion the past weekend. His grandfather actually served on the USS Franklin.
That's a great story, Carol.